Hello everyone and welcome to episode 14 of Suplexes and Microphones. I'm Joe, this is Nate, and sitting between us is Mr. Sleaze, Eric Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Great to have you on the show, man.
Yes.
And first show of 2018. You're kicking off the year for us.
Yes.
So how's that feel?
Oh, well, 2018 is going to be the year of Sleaze.
I can hear that.
Man, I'm so excited to be on the show, and I'm just ready to do some fun stuff.
Awesome. I'm going to turn it over to Nate here to kick us off.
All right, one thing I like to talk about with indie wrestling, to stand out a little bit, because you don't have the benefit of being on television every week. You might be in front of an audience that's never seen you before. A lot of times you have to have kind of a gimmick or a character to kind of put yourself over, separate yourself from the other people on the roster. So I like talking about gimmicks a little bit. So let's talk about the Sleaze character a little bit. I know you started out something else.
Yeah.
So first, can you talk about some failed possible gimmicks you've had in the past?
Oh, I can tell you all about all the failed gimmicks. When I first started in 2008, I worked for this company. They said, "Hey, we're going to give you your first gimmick." I was like, "Cool, sounds amazing." They're like, your name is Big EZ from Louisiana." I went, "Okay, what am I exactly? Like, am I a Cajun gimmick?" He's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be a Cajun gimmick, sort of Mardi Gras feel." I was like, "I don't have the gear for this." Like, I had a blue singlet and a pair of the almost trash bag shorts. And I was like, "I don't know what I'm going to do." He's like, "You just figure it out. Just figure that out.
Just handle it."
And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll buy a bunch of Mardi Gras beads and I'll come out to the Saints Go Marching In and I'll start walking around the ring," which is funny because now there's a guy, I think, on NXT that does the same gimmick, that does like a little carnival feel to it. But I remember walking out with these beads, and all the kids are like, "Yeah, beads, free stuff," and then you see the older ladies like, "Beads," and I'm like, "Kids show, kids show." So I wasn't really happy with the gimmick that was given to me. I just really couldn't get behind it. I didn't have a Cajun drawl or anything. I didn't know anything about Mardi Gras except for beads. So one of my buddies that was there with me, I was like, I really want to do a monster gimmick. So he came up with this idea. He's like, "We're going to call you Malice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out and I'm going to throw a fireball in your face during one of these shows. And you're going to transform into this monster gimmick." I was like, "Okay, I can do that." He comes out, and it just so happened the match that he had to come out to, I jumped off the rope and got a compressed fracture in my knee.
Ouch.
And I am in a lot of pain, and I see him coming out, and I'm like, "Oh no, I still got to take a fireball to the face." He comes out, and no flash paper, none of that stuff. He was old school. He's got a spray bottle of rubbing alcohol and a lighter. And luckily, I had been sweating, so he sprayed giant fireball, engulfs my whole head, and I had a bunch of people. I think Hexon was actually there for that and helped me to the back. But I came back a few weeks later. I had shaved half my head full of hair. I had hair on this side, bald on this side, face paint, and went with that. Nothing came of it. It was really horrible. Then I became the Extreme Machine Eric Thompson. Don't know what that was about either. That was horrible. And then as I progressed, I started to go, okay, I just need to be myself, but times it by 100. And I was wrestling at Chester, and I was calling myself the Future of Wrestling, Eric Thompson at the time. And I did a Robbie E seminar. It was my first seminar I'd ever done, and we get in the ring, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to describe your gimmick without words." So he's like, "Get in the middle of the ring, do mannerisms, and go." At this time, I'm doing baby oil and stuff like that, rubbing myself down in baby oil. He goes, "Stop." I was like, "Yes." He goes, "Are you the future of wrestling, or are you a sleazy porn star? Because right now you're coming off sleazy porn star." I was like, "Well, I've been calling myself the future of wrestling." And he goes, "Tonight before the show, you need to come to me and have a different gimmick. If you're going to be the future of wrestling, go that path. If you're going to be a sleazy porn star, go that path." So I sat there for probably a couple hours waiting and just kind of thinking about it. I was like, I could probably do this sleazy porn star gimmick. I was like, but how's that going to take off? So that night I went out and I just became Sleaze that night. Like I just went from everything that I was doing to going, I'm going to be as gross as possible just to see what I can do. And it kind of took off from there. And I haven't looked back. I have tweaked him. I'm not a porn star anymore. Like I was originally going to call myself Mr. Sleaze RJ Jr. and I was going to carry a picture around of Ron Jeremy and say that he was my illegitimate stepdad.
Nice.
But that was not in the cards. And now you get to comedy sleaze / serious sleaze, a comedic brawler in a sense. And I've had through the last, since I came back, I've had so many people saying, hey, sleaze just isn't going to work here. Why don't you do a different gimmick? Why don't you do a different gimmick? I've been doing sleaze for over 5 years now, and I'm like, if it was getting me to where it was before I quit, I'm pretty sure I can get back to where I was with it. So
you mentioned that about one time I was talking to you about the gimmick itself, and we're here at Viral Pro Wrestling in Thompson, Georgia. It's a very much a family-friendly environment. It's not like some other. So how do you some places are more of a bar atmosphere, adults only kind of a thing.
Right.
So you mentioned to me before in conversation that you have kind of like the different levels of sleaze, so to speak. So kind of walk through that a little bit.
Different levels of sleaze. Family friendly, you're going to get the ha ha ha, the rubbing of the chest, the innuendos of maybe kind of being sexual, but only to the parents that are at the shows. The kids will be like, oh, he's just being funny. Then we progress to the PG-13, which is PWX and a few other shows. That's me just being a little more grotesque, licking ropes, biting turnbuckle pads, just being me. And then you get to the bar scene, which was basically fireball grindhouse shows. I was going out at the time, making out with women, doing every nasty thing you can think of in the book. I mean, I still do a few of those things, just not making out with women. But, so it's all about, I have to judge when I walk into a building. If they're like, hey, tone it down, I'm like, okay, this is that place. If they're like, hey, have free reign, at the end of the night, I'm very sure they're going to be like, hey, so you're not coming back. So.
Okay, well, I just wanted to kind of bring that up for the promoters that might not be as willing to promote you based on some of your gimmicks, but you can turn it down.
Oh, I
for
can
the
turn
PG,
it down.
so.
Way down.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned the comedy matches kind of a thing.
Yeah.
More than happy-go-lucky. So that's more of a face personality. Have you ever played Sleaze as a heel?
Oh.
You ever see that happening? So how does?
Sleaze as a heel, as I explained to somebody one time, is, hey, I'm better than you. Hey, I'm out here to play mind games. I'll kiss a man, I'll kiss a woman, I'll grab you wherever I have to grab you to get you off your game. But at the end of the day, I'm here to win. And like just overly gross. Like I like PWX is starting to get a taste of that, and they're gonna get more and more as it goes on. And I might get unbooked, but I went there a while back, and they're like, I got done with my match, and Elijah Evans came up to me and said, hey, they're booking you as Sleaze. Be sleazy. Because I went in there and I was real safe. I was like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know if I should be PG. I don't know if I should. And then I realized White Mike was on the card, and I was like, I can do anything. Right. So, but yeah, definitely the heel aspect of it is, I'm going to demoralize you in the ring. I'm going to demoralize you worse than Effie in the ring. I'm going to make you question yourself at the end of that match of what just happened? Am I still the same person?
Okay.
So
Now, where the suspenders come from? I don't see suspenders very often on a wrestler's gear.
This is my daughter's question.
Yes. Okay. So the suspenders actually came from a Christmas gift. Someone bought me a joke Christmas gift. Actually, my fiance's brother and his wife bought me candy cane suspenders for Christmas as a joke gift, and I was like, I'll put these on and try this out. And I was like this. I kind of walked around, and I was like, took my shirt off and had them on, and I was like, I've never seen anybody with suspenders on their wrestling gear before.
Yeah.
And I was like, this could be give me a little extra oomph to my gimmick instead of looking like the normal. I have the trunks and I have the body, or I have long tights and I have a, I just looked at it and I was like, I don't see many people wearing suspenders.
Right.
And then once I started wearing suspenders, I started seeing other people with suspenders, and I'm like,
Gimmick infringement.
don't. So.
I like that. So what were some of your influences, I guess, any other wrestlers influence your character or maybe your wrestling style even?
I like to think that if you look at Mr. Sleaze, it's like Ravishing Rick Rude and Joey Ryan had a baby.
Okay.
And they just and then you mix in a little bit of Val Venus right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to love watching Val Venus. I used to love his promos, him coming out in the towel. I was like, I don't know if I could find a towel that big to come out in. Ravishing Rick Rude, every lady wanted him. I mean, just the gyrations. I used to do the gyrations so much. And Joey, we're just two hairy guys that just like to gross people out and see how far we can push the envelope. I've been telling people for 3 to 4 years right now that I'm like, at some point, Sleaze has to go against Sleaze. It has to be Joey Ryan. It has to be Mr. Sleaze.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would make money because I have a lot of gross things I would do with his lollipop.
That's horrible.
Well, let me ask you on the heel aspect. You don't have a little Adrian Adonis feel in there?
Adrian Adonis, I do. I feel like certain parts of him kind of come out through me. A few years back when I had long hair and everything, and I used to come out with furry boots. As someone, I wrestled for $5 wrestling, if people didn't know that. I wrestled for $5 wrestling for a while. And I won't forget watching my match and hearing Cole Cabana and Marty DeRosa go. He has a Bruiser Brody type feel. Because I was so hairy, and when I got in that ring, it was just a scary thing to be in there with, because you didn't know what I was going to do.
Like an aggressive style?
Yeah,
or?
aggressive.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I always kind of really watched Bruiser Brody stuff, because I was like, people used to run out of the locker rooms. They didn't want to face him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he liked you, he liked you. If he didn't, he's going to beat your ass.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So I know sometimes wrestlers get kind of a connection with the fan. The fans get to know them a little bit, and fans might start bringing them gifts from time to time.
Yes.
What's the coolest gift you ever got from a fan, and why was it at the Garden City Grappling Crew T-shirt that Joe gave you?
Actually, that's the most extravagant gifts that I've gotten. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I showed up here and I got that shirt and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I wasn't expecting it, and especially because I was like, I think I made this. And then the Christmas tree cakes and everything like that. Like, the locker room had a blast with the Christmas tree cakes that night. What did I kick? Oh.
Small child under there.
Sorry. I've had some weird gifts as well. I had someone at Chester bring me unicorn goo.
What is that? Like
It's
slime or?
It's a hair gel that's like glitter, and they're like, you should wear this tonight in your chest hair. I was like, man, get everybody mad at me in that ring.
Yeah.
Like, it's still sitting on my dresser. I'm like just waiting for a day that I can just be like, I'm just gonna wear unicorn goo, and I'm gonna rock it around, and everybody's gonna see my shining glory. I had a fan make me a book with a bunch of pictures of me in it, which got really creepy because those pictures, I don't know, they were stolen off Facebook or something, but they were some weird ones. But I appreciated it. I stole plenty of people's sodas but I don't think they were fans. I think they were just sitting in the crowd and I was thirsty. So. But yeah, definitely most extravagant gift so far is from you guys here with the Garden City shirt. I've been wearing that around the house, and she's like, you gonna take that off? I was like, eventually. So.
It made us really, really excited when you actually wore that out to the ring. That was really cool.
Oh, no. What made me excited, which y'all almost made me cry, is when I come out and there's a bunch of signs everywhere. I'm like, where am I? This doesn't happen anywhere else.
Well, that's the next thing I want to transition to is talk about your viral debut when we had all the signs and you had the shirt on and everything. This was your first time here at Viral Wrestling, and just kind of share your experience with him.
Well, I came in just really nervous at the get-go because when I'm debuting at a new company, I'm like, this is my first impression. If I don't make one, I don't come back.
Right.
Or I come back months later when they're like, okay, we'll give them another shot. I remember saying, hey, I'm going to wear the Garden City shirt out, and I was like, I'm in the back and wearing it around. I'm like, all right, time to go out. Finally walk through, and I'm like, okay, I can't see first off because I'm partially blind and it's dark. And then I walk around and I see all these Sleaze Club signs, and I'm like, looked over at my fiance and I said, I was like, I ain't gonna cry today. I got this. I ain't gonna cry. I got this. And the match was really fun. Like, it was a lot more comedy than I've done in a while, because for a while there I went on this serious, like, people look at me and they go, you're a comedy wrestler, but I'm like, but I can wrestle. So like, that was a lot of comedy for me to come back to, because I was like, oh, I haven't done this much comedy in a while, and it feels good because I don't have to hurt myself as much. But at the same time I was like, I hope I didn't do too much comedy to where they're like, you're not coming back. But
apparently that didn't happen.
Yeah,
There you are.
Very next show.
I know. And tonight I'm going against Natty Daddy.
We got to figure that one out. Don't we?
I'm still like, he looks jacked, and I'm just like, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Might see a pose down.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, you did a dance off.
A dance off
last
was
time
fun.
with
Let's
Kevin
write
Phoenix.
this down.
I'm a big fan of music, and we talked about music a little bit, and talking about your entrance music right now, you're using Believer by Imagine Dragons.
Yes.
And I didn't realize it till Joe got to my house, but you actually made a shirt with some of the lyrics on it.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. So I want to break down some of the song. The song is a fun song. It has some cool instruments and cool chorus and everything, but if you break down the lyrics, it's got a little more to it than that. It's pretty deep, actually. So I wanted to kind of run through, and I kind of broke the song down a little bit, and I want to run through some of it with you and just see if some of this might be true of your life, if you could kind of share a little bit of that. So basically the whole song is just someone who finds meaning in the pain of his life. Would you say that's some of that, maybe?
Yes, definitely. When I came back to wrestling after quitting for about a year, I was just so depressed because I had stayed away from it so long, and just coming back and getting in there and feeling what it felt like to be whole again, in a sense, from just being in the ring. That's painful, and I found love through wrestling. I found love through taking those bumps and hurting myself. That lyric right there, that's the whole song, just being like, life being pain. Like, when I'm out of here, I was depressed and it was all pain, but then coming back here, I feel alive again.
Awesome.
So.
That's good news. There's a lyric that says, I'm going to say all the words inside my head. So it's like the person has a lot to share. Do you feel like you have a lot to share with the audience?
Oh, yes. When it comes to that, like, this song really struck to me when I was driving down the street. I was like, this is explaining a lot of what's going on right now with me. Like, I have so many people telling me who I should be or which direction I should go. But I'm the master of my seat. I'm the one that's going to be the ultimate person that's in control of what I do. I'm not going to let someone tell me, hey, you should go here and you should be this person. Or, hey, you should stop what you're doing here and you should be this person. I'm Sleaze 110%. There's no switching them off this way. I'm not going to be a lounge singer. I'm not going to be a firefighter. I'm not going to be anything else but what I am today. So.
Nice, I like that. So part of that, you actually said the line, I'm a master of my sea, and says, don't you tell me what you think that I can be. So it kind of has a little more empowerment and self-control.
Yes.
So you kind of covered that pretty well already. So there's a line in the song that says, write my poems down for a few. So I can see that being someone that's kind of sharing things, but also keeping it to themselves and just sharing with people they trust. Would you say you might be somewhat of an introvert as far as that's concerned, sharing some things personally?
Honestly, I'm a person that's very vocal. If something's not if something is to the point where it's kind of driving me insane, I'm gonna let it out, and I'm going to tell whoever I have to, because I'm one of those people. If I hold it all in, it becomes a very bad thing for me. Because I have dealt with depression and all this stuff in my past, and I was like, I don't want to hold things back if they're inside of me. Like my fiance, she gets the brunt end of everything. If she hears it, if something's going on with me, she's definitely going to know about it. If she doesn't hear about it, TJ Boss is going to hear about it. It's just it's a chain reaction.
Well, it's good then that you have an outlet. You're able to
Yeah.
let those things out then and not just keep it in, like you said, if you need to. There's a lyric that says choking in the crowd. To me, that means like the person's in a group of people, obviously, but they need to express themselves.
Yes.
You kind of feel that?
I definitely do feel that. I've always told everybody that I'm not just a face in the crowd. I don't ever want to be I don't want people to look at me and go, oh, he's just that guy. He's nobody special. I want to be the guy that's standing in the crowd that everybody goes, I can see that one person there. And out of everybody around there, I can see him. That's in anything I do in life. I'm always a person that has to be out there, loud, and entertaining. Like, if there's a serious conversation going on in the room, I'm the first one that's going to crack the joke just to make everybody get off balance. So I'm definitely, when it comes to choking in a crowd, I feel like in wrestling right now, if you get stuck in one spot, you can just blend in with everybody else. And that's what I'm not here to do. I'm not here to blend or be what everybody thinks I should be. I'm me, and I'm going to be loud, and I'm going to be overly expressive, and I'm going to make people turn around and go, I see him. So.
That's good stuff, man. Another line says, hoping my feelings they would drown. It seems like they're suppressing themselves. Do you feel like you might have done that by taking that year off? Do you think you might have?
Yeah. Oh man. So.
Am I getting too personal?
No, definitely not.
Have a seat on the couch. Therapist here.
Oh, man,
Dr. Phil moment.
This interview is going to be different than my usual interviews. I'm going to actually let everything out that I've had in my past. When I quit for that year of wrestling, I quit because of a girl, and this girl ruined my life. Just completely just destroyed who I was as a person. And I went after I quit wrestling. Like I was wrestling 3 to 4 times a week. I was getting booked. I felt like if there was a glass ceiling, I was about to break through it, and I just stopped. And after stopping, I just sat at my house. Me and the girls quit talking, and I just kind of sat there, and I got into a depressed state, where I was probably a week from killing myself. And through help of my fiance now and some other friends, they came to my aid and were like, hey, you need to step away from that. There was a song that I listened to, one of my friends told me to listen to. He's like, it was called Thou Shalt Be Done. And I actually have it tattooed right here on my arm. But that was something that if I ever felt depressed, I just looked down and looked at that, and I'm like, okay, it's not my will, it's someone else's will. So definitely there was a lot of pain and sadness and anger. Every emotion you could think of, except for joy and happiness, happened when I left. And just to be back and seeing where I'm going since I've come back, it's a whole different thing.
It's exciting, man. Thanks for sharing that. I know it's a little kind of departure from the typical wrestling
I know these guys are probably like, let's cut this off real quick.
No, being honest, that's what I'm after. I want people to get to know you, beyond just what you see in the ring. So I appreciate you sharing that. That's real personal, and I know it can be painful. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
One more part in that song. You made me a believer. So made me a believer in what? Yourself, something, your ability, family, friends, fans.
Well, it actually goes through everything. It made me a believer in myself again that I could do this. Because when I first came back, I was I was not getting booked. I was like, oh gosh, what did I do? Like now, there had been so many people that had come in, and it's like, oh no, there's no spots for me anymore. There's no, hey, I'm back in the business. Can I get a booking? It was none of that. It was like struggle, and then all these things are starting to line up again, and it made me believe back in myself that I can do this and I can make it in this business. To when I thought at times I was like, might as well just quit again because I'm not going to make it. But then things just started to line up, and like it's just amazing how much being off from a year to now and coming back and just seeing how much I've blossomed and how much fans have taken back to me. Because for a while, I used to go to places and people would be like, oh, Sleaze, hey, Sleaze. And then I'd come back to places and they're like, who are you? And I'm like, oh no. But now I can go to certain places. I can go to, I think the best one that I had is I went to NXT in Charlotte and was handing flyers out for a show outside afterwards. And people were coming up to me and go, oh, I know you, you're Sleaze. And I was like, oh, snap. The people know me from when I'm not in my drawers and suspenders right now. I was really excited about that. So yeah, the believing part, I believe that the fans have taken back to me. I believe that I'm meant for this business, that I'm going to be something that you're going to see on TV, hopefully, in the distant future. If not, hey, at least I will have a security shirt on and getting thrown around by somebody. But, I believe in myself. That was the big thing for me, is I had to start believing in myself again.
Yeah. That's a good story, man. That's real inspirational. I hope that'll help somebody else that might be going through a similar situation in their life. So appreciate you sharing again with us that. One thing I like to talk about with the wrestler sometimes is just when I first started watching indie wrestling, it's like, okay, I know these guys do this on the weekend, but what do they do between the weekends as their job? So I never throw on somebody without asking permission first. But can you talk a little bit about that? You don't have to say where if you don't want to, but just tell us what you do.
I work at the Millhouse Pizzeria in Greenwood / Good Times Brewery. I'm a bartender. I'm the life of the party there. Everybody that comes in, they call me Sleaze at the bar.
Oh, nice.
So I have wrestling fans that show up there, and they're like, "So where are you wrestling at this week?" I'm like, "Are you gonna actually show up this time? Because you've said it 30 times and you haven't showed up once." No, I work in Greenwood, South Carolina at Millhouse Pizzeria, Good Times Brewery. It's a brick oven pizza parlor, probably the best pizza you're gonna find in the area. And I would put it, if you live in let's see, it's better than Melon Mushroom to me.
Okay.
It's better than Zaz in Columbia. It's a really good brick oven place. People throwing dough up in the air. I used to do it, and I used to be so dirty. And the beers are top notch. Like we have 24 beers on tap, and luckily for me, I get to sample every single one of them each day.
Do you do any IPAs?
Oh, we have.
I'm a big IPA
Oh
fan.
yes, we have that we brew there. We have 4 IPAs. We have a double IPA that we had to just change the name for. We changed it from Lightsaber to Dynamite because we didn't want to get sued by Disney.
Yeah.
We have a Imperial IPA that's called the Death Star. Name will be changed soon. We have a Blood Moon IPA, which is amazing. We have a ton of IPAs on right now.
Road trip. Let's go.
Yes, our IPAs are amazing.
It's not that far.
I know, exactly. It's like an hour, so yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a big TripAdvisor fan. Whenever I travel, go out of town, I'm always pulling TripAdvisor on my phone, trying to find restaurants, points of interest. And I saw you guys are number 2 in Greenwood, so
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can boost it up to number 1, see what we can do to
Do it.
let's do it.
And come see me and tip me.
There you go.
And I was going to say this towards the end of the program, just to kind of add it to your plugs at the end, which we'll do your social media and stuff. Tell us a little bit about Indie Customs. Where did that come from? Who runs it?
Oh man, y'all about to get me in an argument already.
You're getting a look right now.
Yeah.
Across the
Well,
room.
I am the vice president.
Vice president.
Yeah, I'm the CEO. No, Indie Customs is actually ran by my fiance, Kimberly Ann. She is the mind, heart, and dedication behind it. Without her, half of the indies right now wouldn't have T-shirts.
Including us.
There we go. It all started when last year, because we're almost at our year mark right now of being, and as you can tell, it's pretty decently sized now. But it originally started as, hey babe, I want to start making my own shirts because I don't want to pay out the wazoo for them. And I was like, I'm gonna buy a shirt press and a vinyl machine and a vinyl cutting machine, and I'm gonna make my own shirts. She's like, no, don't do that. And I was like, I'm gonna do it regardless, and which I did. And my first shirt I was gonna start creating, and I started trying to figure it out. And she's a very not patient person when it comes to me. Well, she's very patient. I can't say that, but. She basically shoved me out of the way and said, no, move, I got this, and started making my shirt, and we pressed my first shirt. I went to some shows, and I was like, yeah, I'm selling shirts again. Yes, I'm making extra money. And then people came up to her and were like, they were saying, hey, you make shirts? She's like, no. She's like, I make his shirts, but they're like, can you make our shirts? And she's like, no. What people don't know is my fiance Kimberly is, when she first got into this wrestling business with me, she was very, I guess, an introvert. She didn't want to talk to people. She would kind of sit to herself in a corner and just not socialize. And so when people would come up to her saying, hey, can you make shirts? She was like, just shut down. I was like, no, I can't do that. And I finally sat her aside and I said, hey, you can make money and you can help people. Because that's ultimately what Indie Customs has come to be, is we want to help people. We don't want to charge people for a promotional code and say that you're a sponsor or you're an ambassador. We want to make you family. You're family when you're with us. We want to make it to where people can afford shirts, not feel like after they got done buying shirts that they go, oh God, I've got all these shirts and I'm not going to make back the money that I paid for them. So Indie Customs has become a giant family. It's become more than a shirt company in a sense. We have sponsored athletes. We have Joe Black. We have Jim Nasty. We have Anthony Henry. We have James Drake. We have Ronnie Nicole, we have Zuka King, we have Michael Spencer, we have myself, which I'm not really sponsored. I just like to put myself in there and wear the shirts. We have so much great talent. We got more talent on the way in 2018. A lot of surprises. And I just feel like, just like 2018 is going to be a good year for Sleaze, it's going to be an even better year for Indie Customs because we're going to be expanding and building greatly. It's insane.
Now, did I understand correctly that it's Kimberly's full-time job?
That is her full-time job. When she started making shirts, she realized real quick, this job's not helping me as much as this job is, and we have kids, so she's like, I can just do Indie Customs and still be with my family instead of trying to stress out with babysitters and stuff like that. She can now just go, hey, I stay at my house, I do my business at my house, and I have my kids at my house. So, which that gets stressful too, like any kids. But, she's been able to succeed higher and greater than I ever expected. So,
It's exciting.
She's what I look up to now. So,
good answer. That's good.
Yeah.
That might win you some points. She's looking at her phone right now, not paying attention, but maybe she heard you, and maybe you got it. Okay, good. That's great. All right,
Kimberly's in the room, guys. In
She's
case you
here.
didn't get this.
You heard all the fiancés have been saying.
All right. Well, that's it for my section of the conversation. let's go ahead on to yours, Joe. You got
Yeah,
hot tag?
so for 2018, Suplex and Microphones trying to come up with some additional features, some new things that we can throw at wrestlers to answer. And so we came up with something we call the hot tag. Hot tag, I'm going to throw a name or a subject or an item out there, and you tell me what the first thing that comes to mind when I name that person or whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be a single word answer.
Yeah.
You can expand on it, and I may ask a follow up. But going into these interviews, as you now know, we ask you a lot of questions ahead of time, a lot of prep work.
Yeah.
You know, the bands you like and influences and things like that. So the basis for some of these questions is information we get from there. So to kick things off, I want to throw out first name for the hot tag, 2018 first time feature, Zane Riley.
Oh, Zane Riley is probably a guy that without him I wouldn't be where I am now. He is the place that all the wayward children of the indies that couldn't get over go to, and they get over. He is amazing at everything he does.
Okay, so he helps you guys like with promos and things like that, or something else?
just everything. Like Zane Riley is so over when it comes to wrestling, and he's one of the friendliest guys that I know. And now he'll put me in my place in a heartbeat, which I love about him. But I remember seeing him back in the day and going, I really want to tag with that guy. I really want to tag with him. And then I finally got to tag with him at a fair show. And we started tagging up and going other places, and it was like he kind of took me under his wing. And a lot of places we go, I'm Big Zane, he's Little Zane, because we look the same sometimes. It's just I don't have the tattoos right here, which I might get.
All right, next one, and you've actually thrown this name out there as a Indian Customs sponsored athlete, Anthony Henry.
Anthony Henry is, when I first met him, I was really nervous about him because I was like, I don't know if he hates me. I don't know if he likes me. He's really reserved. But the more I got to know him, he's a really great guy, very knowledgeable. And I finally got to work him, and boy, that guy can go. Like, I found out after that match, like, I was like, I'm so tired. I'm so blown up. I hardly made it through the match. And people came up to me and they're like, he does that to people that were on TV. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's not just me. He's a workhorseman, if I could say the least. He's traveling every week. He's living the dream, and he's a big fan of sharks.
Okay. You know, prior to our interview with Anthony, we had the same concerns.
Yeah.
You know, he's a little bit of an introvert, he's reserved, but probably one of our better interviews as far as getting information from someone. He was very open. So I definitely agree with your thoughts. If you don't know Anthony, don't be afraid to come up and speak to him at a show or whatever else. He's not what you think.
No, he's not going to kick you.
No.
He might.
Well, not likely.
Not likely.
It's not likely. Odds are in your favor.
Yes.
It'd be a good kick, though, if he does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll be a solid
Best
one.
kicks in the Indies. Next up, Effie. You don't have to tell about any prior spots with White Mike and Effie, but your thoughts on Effie.
Effie, when I first heard about Effie right before we went to Alabama, it was a couple months before, the promoter of that show, he's like, hey, I'm probably going to tag you with Effie versus White Mike and a guy named Justin Fireball. And then I was like, okay. And then he was like, or I'm going to tag you with White Mike and you're going to work Effie and Fireball. I was like, I like that better. I was like, I don't know who Effie is, because at this time I didn't know.
Okay.
So I started doing research, and people were telling me, they're like, this dude is amazing. He's not really a gimmick, it's him. And I was like, okay. So I started watching, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun match, because this promoter had a thing about wanting us to do an adult XXX toys death match, and I was like,
Oh, gosh.
I don't know about this. So I met Effie, I think 2 weeks before the match for the first time. I met him at Fest Wrestling, and he's like, you're Mr. Sleaze. And I said, you're Effie. And and he goes, yeah. And he's like, we're gonna do this in a couple weeks. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. And then we got there, and then I became less excited about it because just nothing screams pain like having hot wax dripped on your body from Effie. And I want everybody to know you aren't nobody until you've had hot wax dripped on you by Effie. So yeah, I love Effie. He is the weapon of sass destruction. He is daddy.
I've yet to meet anybody that didn't enjoy Effie's work.
Oh no,
Truly.
yeah.
All right, next up is 2 more sponsored athletes by Indy Customs. Gymnasty Boys, what's your first thought on those guys?
Hate White Mike. No, I'm just playing. No, I love White Mike. I love Timmy. Timmy Lou. Not a lot of people know this. Is me and Kimberly actually drove him down one night. I was out training at a company and for wrestling and everything, and I got a phone call saying, "Hey, Timmy Lou needs a ride," and I was like, "To where?" And they're like, "To Florida." And I went, "Okay, let me call my work real quick." I called my job. I said, "Hey, I got to go down to Florida just for the day. I'll be back the next day." They're like, "Okay," and that was basically me and her driving Timmy down for NXT. So he can make it to the NXT thing, because I was like, that's a big opportunity. I don't want you to miss it. He's such a great guy. He's very knowledgeable about wrestling. He's one of the guys that I met way before I even knew he was a wrestler. When $5 wrestling was going around, that I was doing that, he was actually at the shows, like just grabbing gear off the ring and stuff like that. And I always was like, I want to face this guy. I don't know anything about him, but I just want to. You look at somebody and you go, I want to work that person. Which is weird, because I knew White Mike back then too, but I didn't know White Mike because he looks completely different now. White Mike was at all those shows sitting in the crowd heckling. So now I look at it and now I'm sitting in the crowd heckling while he's making all these big moves. That's one match that, once again, I don't care who I tag with. I would love to tag with Effie against Gymnasty.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think that would be a really fun match.
Yeah, it would.
Like I said, White Mike's just comedy gold. He's become one of the best comedy guys, and a lot of people look at him and say he's just comedy. I've seen him work. He's a hell of a worker too. He's very knowledgeable. He knows what the crowd wants.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Next up, next name on the hot tag list, Rob Killjoy.
Okay, Rob Killjoy. I've known Rob for years and years and years, and he is probably one of the most knowledgeable people, other than, I would say, John Schuyler. He knows what works in which venue. He can go to this venue and he can do this match for this crowd. He can go to this venue and work a whole different crowd with a difference. He can read a crowd just from walking to the door.
Wow.
We've worked some shows all over North Carolina together, not wrestling each other. We've wrestled each other a few times. I remember I said, hey, I was telling this company, I was like, I really want to work the Ugly Ducklings. I was like, that's on one of my lists. I have to wrestle the Ugly Ducklings, because I love Lance Luton, I love Rob Killjoy, and they made it happen. I was like, I was sitting in the back and they're calling spots, and I guess they didn't expect me to know some of their stuff. I was like, so you were going to do this spot and this spot and this spot? They're like, oh, you already know all your stuff. I was like, yeah. But yes, Rob Killjoy, probably one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to wrestling. He knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to sell better than anybody. That man has the best carny caller at any table. If you're in a show with Rob Killjoy, you might as well go ahead and cancel anybody looking at your table, because he is louder than everyone else when it comes to the quacking and the merchandise.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've seen him stand up on the table and tell everybody, come over here.
Oh yeah.
Next up, another Indy Customs athlete, and someone is actually going through a rough spot right now because he got injured. TJ Boss.
Yes. TJ Boss and me actually started training together. We did some stuff before we started training for professional wrestling, which stuff we don't allow wrestling. We don't talk about too much. We did backyard together before we started actually training to be pro wrestlers. His name has always been TJ Boss, so it's funny. But like, he's probably one of my close friends. He comes to my house at least once a week, maybe twice a week. We have Taco Tuesdays or Taco Wednesdays. We have taco nights. We talk about wrestling. I tell him when he's being a dumbass, which I told him numerous times before the infamous spot that happened. Told him don't do it. Sometimes you can't tell TJ anything, but I look at it in the long run. I was like, you will always be remembered in PWX for that spot. And like we have life talks. He's a great father to his kids. He's teaching me how to be more patient with kids. So, he's just an all-around great guy. And probably when he comes back, he's going to be better than ever. He's going to be, I guarantee you, probably by the end of 2018, you should see him somewhere. Either it's ROH, NXT, somewhere. Just even if it's just a spot, he'll be there.
Yeah.
But I know me and him both talked before he got injured. I was like, I'm thinking about next time they have a training camp for ROH, going and doing this training camp. And he's like, we should go do it together. I was like, yes, we should, so we can split the hotel.
All right, last name on the hot tag list, Marcus Mason. And this is someone Nate and I weren't real familiar with, but when I looked him up, he actually lives in your hometown, right?
Yes.
Your current hometown.
Yes. Marcus Mason is actually going to be the best man in my wedding. Once again, he's one of the guys that I trained to wrestle. We've been friends for years and years and years. Me and him, we traveled the roads together. He's been one of my friends, but we've also been that match that if we ever face each other, we're such good friends that we will beat the ever-loving shit out of each other. We were at a Grindhouse show, and this match is actually on YouTube. I wrestled one guy, and they're like, all right, at the time, still to this day, he's the king of the Grindhouse, which is basically a crown, but it's basically their heavyweight title. Instead of a belt, it's a crown. They're like, hey, you win this, you're going to win this match, you're going to go on to face him in the main event in a chairs match. I was like, okay, I can do this. We go out there and we start the match, and I tell him, I was like, hey, I want you to give me a good one right to start the match off. And I was gonna have some color, and he hits me with the chair, and I go to make color, and I'm like, oh God, it's all the way across the ring. It fell off. So I roll over. I get my nice color stick, and I looked at the ref and I said, "Tell him to give me one more." And me, being the professional that I am, I don't put my hand up for chair shots. I still think that I'm in the 90s when the Attitude Era was, when Mankind could get hit in the head 24 times.
Right.
So I don't feed the hand, and I don't remember the rest of the match because I got a concussion from the chair shot. And apparently me and him just beat the ever-loving shit out of each other with chairs. Funny note, my concussion word is Tom Petty. So if y'all ever hear me in a ring, just scream Tom Petty. That's my concussion word, because after that match, I got into the back and I was like, I'm good. And I just started nodding off. She's like, nope, you're not good. You're not driving. So she ended up, Kim started driving, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I almost nod off, and I'd wake up, and I got almost out, and she shook me, and I went, Tom Petty! now I tell her anytime she knows that I'm hurt is when I scream Tom Petty in the ring.
Nice. All right.
So.
That's it for the hot tag.
Yeah, that would do the over the top rope. With this segment, we go to the previous person we interviewed, and we ask them a question. Say, hey, next interviewer talking to so and so.
Okay.
What's the question you have for them? Our last interview on episode 13 was Chip Day.
Oh no. And
so his question for you is, what move of mine are you most apprehensive about taking?
Kicks. I talk to Chip every time. I'm like, Chip, Chip's kicks look so lethal, but they're so crisp, and I really want to face him, but I know it's going to be one of those times that he's going to kick me, I'm going to kick him, and then it's just going to turn into a blood sport. Just seeing who can kick it, who the hardest. Yeah, after also watching him buzzsaw kick the piss out of Darius Lockhart with that one flush kick that I was like, oh, Darius is dead. I was like, I would not want to take that. That's the move. That buzzsaw kick to the head, just.
We heard the same thing from a lot of people that read that show.
Yeah. That's a no.
That's not surprising answer,
Yeah,
is it?
seriously, not
I'm
a
gonna
bit.
take it though. If I have to take it now though.
So now we're going to get into the 10 count.
Okay.
The 10 count is a group of questions we can kind of drag and ask to anybody that comes through. Pretty much most of our guests have had similar questions, maybe a few different. We've settled on quite a few that we want to keep in. The first one, number 1 on the 10 count, is pick a superpower.
Reading a woman's mind.
Just a woman's?
Yeah, because I don't care what the woman's think.
We hadn't got that answer before. That's
No,
good.
we have not.
That's different. I
And
like
I
that.
think we've gotten a different answer almost every time on that. It's interesting. All right, question 2. Who is the GOAT?
Greatest of all time,
Yes.
Macho Man.
Wow, we haven't got that answer either. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so question 3 on the 10 count. If you're stuck in an alleyway, you can't get out, you got about to have a street fight, and you can pick 2 guys to help you out, who would you choose?
And then you're wrestling.
Indie guys, yeah.
Indie
Yes.
guys. And a street fight. Ooh, goodness. And it's a street fight, right?
Street
Mhm.
fight.
Legit.
TJ Boss.
Kind of thought that was coming.
And Rayhan. Or Montana Black.
Uh,
Montana Black's just too tall of a dude. I think they would run.
yeah, he's a big guy for sure. Okay. All right, question 4 is what the question that we call an envy question. Previous guest was Chip Day, as we've already said. If you could take one thing from Chip Day, it could be his title, his gimmick, his gear, his girlfriend, his kicks, whatever it could be. What would you take from Chip Day?
What would I take from Chip Day? Ooh. His passion.
Okay.
I would take his passion because anything he does in that ring, you can see the passion of how much he loved it.
That's good. I like
Like,
it.
I feel like the passion that he has for wrestling is the passion that I ultimately want to have. To where I just walk in and I'm like, he puts it all in where, just like AJ used to back in the day. When AJ used to go in the ring, he used to almost cry after every single match because you could tell he left everything he had in those matches. And I was like, that's how I want to be. I want to be able to go in and just kind of cry afterwards, be like, that was good.
Just really emotionally invested. Yeah.
I want people to be emotionally invested as they are into Chip.
Okay. All right. Question 5 on the 10 count. It comes from one of our viewers. It's Cody Fluffman. Recently, Tracer X had a cereal box, I believe it was Frosted Flakes, with his image put on it. I think that was a gift from someone. We're actually interviewing him later, so I'll get some more details on that. So if you could choose a cereal box for your image to be on, what cereal would you choose? And thank you, Cody, for giving us that question.
Well, you know, when I think about it, you got to follow your nose, and that would be the Fruit Loops. I just feel like I would be the best person for Fruit Loops.
Okay.
Fruit Loops, Mr. Sleaze edition.
Yes.
That's right.
All right.
Oh God.
You can go so many ways with that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
All right. My half of the 10 count. Question number 6. This is a question I've really enjoyed asking people. What is your typical cookout order?
Ooh. It's a cookout tray, big double burger all the way. Or not all the way. Big double burger, onions, pickles, mayonnaise, and mustard only. No cheese. Fries and a corn dog. And then I also get the bacon cheddar dog. But I gotta have the huge cheer wine. Now I want you to understand that I have a cookout in Greenwood, and I go there super late at night. And I have an A squad, I have a B squad, and I have a C squad. If I get the C squad, I'm pissed off for the rest of the night. Like, you'll get a patty that's about like that, and then another patty that's about like that.
That's no good.
And I've been having more and more of the C squad in Greenwood. Like, it's annoying.
The one in Augusta is really good.
Yeah,
The one by
you
20.
need to come
Get
here.
that one.
We've never been disappointed.
Yeah.
I might have to do that.
No.
Date night.
Well, I
Yeah.
was about to say that because I always I want to ask the question. They say, I don't go to cookout. So I always at least ask, do you like cookout? And your answer was, yeah, that's a date night for me. So putting you on the spot, what's Kim's usual?
Kim's usual is a big double burger all the way. She's either getting fries and a corn dog, fries and nuggets, or she's getting corn dog and nuggets with a huge tea to drink because she can't have all that caffeine right now. We both get ranch and buffalo at the end.
Mm-hmm.
She eats her fries first, which drives me insane because I'm like, just eat. You gotta eat it all.
But the fries aren't good cold, so I can identify
But
with that.
if you're dipping, it's okay.
Well,
it's
yeah.
okay. But
She's nodding, so I think you got it right.
See, and it used to be chicken quesadillas, but their chicken quesadillas got kind of slack. But like when I say date night, this is legit. Like we have 4 kids in between us, so if I'm not at work and we have the kids, we usually finally get them to sleep, and we're like, hey, let's go on a date night. Our date night consists of walking around Walmart looking at figures. Me saying that I want to buy this, and she goes, no, you do not need to buy this. And then it goes to us at cookout, and I'm like, the usual? She's like, yeah. Okay, let's not change this up today. And if I buy a bacon cheddar dog, I'm like, hey, do you want me to buy you one? She's like, no. We get to the house, she eats half mine. Just rude.
All right, we have a question called Lose One. A lot of times we'll do like, okay, this artist, music artist, or this actor, something like that, and I thought I might kick it up a notch for this one.
Okay.
So, now on this hand you have wrestling, period. Not just being a wrestler, not just watching wrestling live. Watching wrestling, it's like wrestling never existed to you. Now watching wrestling on television as a child, wrestling, everything goes away.
Okay.
Or the Indie Customs business. Not just the name Indie Customs, but actually the screen print business, the sponsors,
Sponsorships.
Kim getting to stay at home with the children. Okay, just put a little. So lose one.
Oh. Now, wrestling over here, that means I'm never wrestling. Or is
You
that
never
just-
wrestling and you never watching wrestling. Wrestling never exists.
Kim, you're going.
Oh,
Wow.
The main reason is because without this wrestling, there would be
Correct.
no Indie Customs.
Yeah.
So it's a trick question here.
I figured
because
you would
this
go
would
that
have
way.
never gone here.
Yeah.
And 2, if it would have been for Ric Flair and Macho Man, I would never have probably met Kim because I would have probably done something a bit different with my life.
Okay.
good enough.
Good answer. That works.
I win. Trick question.
All right. Have to try harder next time. All right. What's your dream match? If you could have a dream match with anybody in their prime, dead, and also choose one that's alive.
Ooh, dead and alive. Ooh.
This doesn't have to be limited to indies, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody.
I would have loved to have worked Macho because I love Macho Man. I have him hanging from my dash in the car right now. Well, he's not hanging there anymore, but he fell. I love Macho Man. Macho Man's one of the people that got me in. It was him and Ric Flair that got me into it. That was always a dream match. I was like, he knew how to command that ring. He knew how to get people talking about him and wanting to be him. And now, I'm gonna do indie because I'm just gonna stick to indie because that's a possibility. Ooh, it's in between right now. Chip Day or Sugar Duckington.
Okay.
That's been my 2 for a while now. Definitely Suge. I've watched Suge for years and was like, I want to work him.
Good choices. And both Georgia guys, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What was your first car? Tell us about your first car.
First car was a Dodge Neon RT, 1998 Dodge Neon RT. Stick shift. Loved the car. Drove it around. I did real crazy because I thought that a Neon could be like a street racing car, which
Okay.
it can't. It doesn't drift worth a crap. The ditch found that out real quick. Yeah, I love that car, and it was so good on games.
So here's what we call the genie in the bottle question. If you could change one thing about professional wrestling, what would it be?
Well, seeing that I went to NXT again.
Small child again.
Poor kid.
I went to NXT a couple weeks, maybe a couple weeks back, in Charlotte, and I don't want to change all fans, but just some fans. There's some fans that I realize as a wrestler now that I'm just like, I can't be around these guys. Like, they just, I guess it would be the smart marks that think that they can call a match and do everything that's done in the ring, even though they're sitting in the nosebleeds watching it and don't have a passion to get in there. I really would love to change those kind of fans to where they can just be like, enjoy the product and not try to call the product. You know, these are the people that are sitting here going, well, you know, that Kenny Omega and Jericho match, it was good, but they could have done it this way, and they could have done this spot, and they could have done this spot, and they could have done this spot. Did you not just enjoy the art that was made in the ring?
Right.
Like, these two went out there and they put on a match that people wanted to see.
Yeah.
They wanted to talk about this match. They wanted to enjoy this match. This was something for the fans to enjoy.
It was good.
Yeah, and I sat in front of some fans at NXT, and they were sitting there, and it was Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly versus Aleister Black and Chris Hero. And Bobby Fish got off the apron. Cassius Ohno. I'll call him Chris Hero. I don't care. Basically, Bobby Fish got on the floor and was like, Hero! Talking to Chris Hero. And this fan behind me is like, he must be calling a spot. He must have messed that up. He messed that up real bad. That's why he's calling it a hero. And I was like, I did like this. I said, oh no, here we go. And then he goes, yeah, Cassius Ohno needs to quit. He's too fat anyway. He can't even wrestle. And I went, I turned and I looked and I was like, Kim, should I tell him, hey, you want me to tell him that for you? And then I got to the point where halfway through the show, I finally was like, I'm about to do it, Kim. I'm about to do it. I'm about to turn around and say, how long you been working, kid? Because you've been calling this whole show. I don't even know what a cold tag is. You've been calling people to do cold tags. That's not a damn thing. I'm just sitting there like, I'm getting so frustrated that I told her, I said, I got to go. I got to walk. And she almost snapped on him because the person was like, female wrestlers don't have a place in this business.
Oh, wow.
I went, oh!
It wasn't female wrestlers, it was females.
Females in general.
Wow.
And I was sitting there going, oh, run.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's the smart mark call the match for the wrestlers disappear.
Just enjoy it. Just be a fan.
Just be a fan.
Yeah.
Just be. If you paid the money to come to a wrestling show, try to enjoy the show. Don't sit there and just go, I didn't like that. Criticize.
It's like calling spots in the Star Wars movie. You don't get with.
First off, guys, let me get off the subject. Ready? You done brought this up. All right. So I'm a big fan of Ewoks. Okay. And this might actually be the one that you're going to ask Tracer. Okay. Because I think it'll be entertaining. So you have Chewbacca, and then you have Ewoks. Is no one going to put the correlation that a little Ewok is actually a baby Wookiee?
Aren't the Ewoks adults though?
How do you know?
I mean, they're fighting. They have weapons.
So are some kids. So are some kids overseas.
There's some of that.
Like, I think two Wookiees got together. Ewok. She wants to cut me right now.
I think we veered off course a little bit.
We have
Somehow.
bring it back in.
So about
concludes the 10 count.
those smart marks.
Yeah, they're the worst, aren't they? The worst. All right, that concludes the 10 count. You have anything else, Joe? Or ready to
That
close
is
it up?
it for me. It's time for you to plug yourself, sir.
All right. Well, you can find me on Facebook at Eric Thompson, or I have a fan page, Mr. Sleaze. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Sleaze, but I think it's a bunch of numbers and stuff. Just put Mr. Sleaze. Hopefully it'll pop up. And then I think it's Mr._Sleaze. Find me at Indie Customs on Facebook. I think it's Indie Customs 8. If I'm not saying at I have a business card. I don't know. She does all that. I'm just find Indie Customs online. If it looks like a shoe company, it's not us.
INDIE.
Yes.
There we go.
INDIE.
Yeah.
And support all the wrestlings. Support these guys. Support anything to do with wrestling. Just support it. You ain't even gonna support me. Just come say hey. I'm not scary. I might be.
All right, and our information is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Suplexes Mics, SUPLEXES at Suplexes Mics. Straight link to our YouTube channel is tinyurl.com/Suplexes Mics. Thanks again for watching. Thanks, Sleaze, for being here. I had a great time talking to you, getting to know you better, and thanks so much.
And if you're a promoter, book this guy.
I'll take my shirt off.
You don't need to.
Okay.
Cut.
1,